modified battles ever in the North Country. 14 aggressive drivers will sprint through the mud at speeds of up to 65 miles per hour. Welcome to the 1991 Monster Truck Challenge Series. Welcome to the 1991 Monster Truck Challenge Series.
I'm here with Jim Kramer, driver of Bigfoot 9. And Jim, I understand you brought this truck out here with a fresh coat of paint on it.
Well, the fresh coat of paint comes in on the underside. We made a lot of changes in this truck. We built this truck to be a very lightweight truck, but now we have designated weights we have to comply with, which is 10,000 pounds. So we went and put heavier axles in and actually weighted the truck back down to make it meet that rule. Well, this is a very challenging course. I've never seen a course like it. It's like a double Z, and it's a lot of turning, braking, acceleration. It's going to be very challenging to do, plus the fact that a lot of changes have been made in the truck. I've got to do some adaptation to meet the needs to be able to run this track, and I think I'm ready. I hope the truck's ready.
The track itself is ready as well. One of the more bizarre courses ever in monster truck racing, a zigzag Z course that could present more than its fair share of problems for unfamiliar drivers. Jim Reese from right here in the Los Angeles area will kick off qualifying with the Ecology Junkyard Eliminator. What a hit! The first launch of the night is a sky-high ride. Now making the first turn to the right, a short straightaway, then a hard left. And Reese handles it beautifully as he sets himself up for the final straight. The finish line located at the end of the crushed cars on the final straight. There's the finish line poles, and Reese sets the pace in qualifying. The first run, 21.17 seconds for the Eliminator. Meanwhile, Robert Parker, the AM/PM Boss Ford, leaves the line. Parker handling the first turn with a little bit of apprehension, and understandably, this is a unique course. Most drivers have never, ever competed on a course like this. Whoa, rear wheel up in the air as Parker tries to cut the last turn a little bit sharp. But straightens it up for a good run. The elapsed time for the California Ford of Seth Dalton and Robert Parker, 23.02 seconds. That'll be good for the number 2 spot. On the starting line this time around, Bobby Z at the wheel of the Skull Crusher Ford. Big time problems as Z actually gets caught up in some fender panels on the junk cars. And now takes a conservative approach to the very first turn. Getting on the throttle a little harder now and going very, very tight into the last turn. Lining himself up for the finish line. Z crosses the finish with a time to beat of 21.17 seconds. His elapsed time, 26.09 seconds. So while Jim Reese is high-flying, Eliminator leads. Bigfoot is yet to come. Stay with us. As we prepare to continue qualifying here at Anaheim, Chris Chapman had a chance to take a look at things up close earlier.
I'm standing next to a monster truck tire just to give you a better perspective on how big these tires really are. Each tire is about 3 feet wide and about 5.5 feet tall. They weigh 950 pounds and support over 10,000 pounds. With all of these lofty numbers, you probably wonder how much tire pressure each tire holds. The answer is a surprising 11 pounds. For a better comparison, your average passenger car tire requires about 32 pounds.
Qualifying is underway. We still have 3 more machines to go, including this machine. The legendary Bigfoot with the team #1 driver Jim Kramer at the wheel. The mark to beat 21.17 seconds. The Ford taking the starting line more aggressively than anybody has so far and making the turn harder than any truck yet. Kramer stumbles a little bit on the last turn, but now gets hard on the throttle of the supercharged Ford. The mark to beat, 21.17 seconds. Kramer and Bigfoot runs 21.14 seconds. By 400ths of a second, the Ford takes over the pole from Jim Reese. But the battle isn't over yet. Here's Dennis Anderson and the crowd favorite, the Gravedigger. Unbelievable airborne leap. Anderson lands and heads into the first turn. Hard on the throttle, now hard on the brakes as he goes hard, tight left and heads for the finish line. The mark to beat still 21:13. And problems for Anderson. A small exhaust header fire underneath the truck. He's got big time problems. What was certainly going to be the best run of the event so far now ends with the fire extinguishers being sprayed on the green Chevrolet. On the starting line, Gary Schott's Valvoline racer gets ready, but looking at the replay of Dennis Anderson's mishap, it's important to note that our ESPN timers indicated that Anderson was bettering Bigfoot's qualifying time by some 3 seconds when the problem occurred in the last turn. He had the run of the event going, but settles for a time of 3 minutes, 32 seconds flat. Gary Schott heads very conservatively for the first set of cars. Big power stand as he applies power in the middle of the crushed cars, now moving into turn 1. Schott at this point seems concerned that the heavyweight Valvoline Chevrolet may not be suited as much to this particular track as some of the lighter weight trucks, as he is apparently just going to take his time and make sure he gets around this course in order to qualify. He'll already be well ahead of Dennis Anderson's Gravedigger. The elapsed time, 33.09 seconds. Chris Chapman is talking with Dennis Anderson right now.
Dennis, tire and monster trucks do not mix.
Yeah, I know it. What happened to me is one of my my little wing nuts on my injector got loose, and the throttle was sticking on me. So I was hammering on the brakes trying to get it to slow down so I could make this turn. So I just shut it down over there and said, what the heck, I'm going to lose out on qualifying. But we came back, we got the idle set back down on it, and I finished my course, so I'm still in.
So what did you think when you looked back there? And I'm sure you could see there was a fire.
Yeah, well, I knew my brakes were hot. I could smell it before I even stopped. So I was just hoping it didn't go burst into flames. So we got it together. We're ready to go again.
And then whatever possessed you to go off the other end of the track and almost turn it over?
Yeah, well, that was for my fans, you know. And if I would have gone up and crawled across the cars, that's not my style. I got to get air and be wild.
And wild he is. Thank you, Chris. So with qualifying over, Bigfoot leads by 400ths of a second, but that was only qualifying. The race itself is yet to come. Stay with us.